live on channel 914, that's audio platform for Dstv, and Gotv audio channel 304. So, well, let's dive into our conversation, Honorable. Now, since taking office, what key changes have you introduced to align Central Province with the President's vision of irrigation-based development since you took over from Honorable Princess Kasune?
Thank you very much. I think it wasn't mainly a policy shift from Kasune. I think it was an escalation, if you like, or a continuation, because I think what we are all doing as President Hakainde soldiers is to make sure that his vision and his strategic intent for the country is achieved through our provinces. And like you have said, one of the biggest thing I think he pronounced was that this country by 2027-2030 must be able to produce 10 million metric tons of maize, 1 million metric tons of soybeans, and 1 million metric tons of wheat, so that we can fully be self-sufficient and be able to export. And I think Central Province has turned that into a reality. I'm sure you know that the pre-survey of the harvest for 2024-2025 season is that we are actually leading the country with 668,000 metric tons that are expected to be harvested in Central Province. And I think Eastern Province is second, and the rest of the provinces follow. What have we done to achieve that? I think we've encouraged a lot of irrigation, farming. We have told people in Central Province that farming must not be left to the rain season alone. It must be a process throughout the year. And of course, with the encouragement of the SAFF loans, of course they had their own hurdles, a little bit of hurdles, like any other new thing that comes, and more especially as good as a SAFF loan. It will always, because the demand will always outstrip the supply. But at least we have seen people going into this, and I think Central Province is poised to be great when it comes to agriculture. We are targeting 1 million metric tons come 2025-2026 season.
Okay, and I love that you've touched on the SAFF loans. So now, what percentage did you say of the 74 million kwacha SAFF funds that have been allocated to emergent versus commercial farmers? What accountability tools are in place to track the progress and the impact of these loans?
So far, I think SAFF loans, like I have said, if you look at the demand has been too overwhelming. People really want to venture into that. In it, let's be realistic, in it, there's a little bit of chances, but there's also a lot more of reality. I think the biggest challenge that we have continued to face is the predetermination as monitoring of are these people that are applying real farmers, because we don't want people to come and scam. And because of that, I think in Central Province, the rate, if you look at it from the people that have applied versus people that have actually gotten the loan, is around 15 to 25%. But that has been because the province has been a little bit more meticulous in ensuring that people that are getting the loans really pay back. We have learnt a lesson, we have bent ourselves on CDF loans, and I don't think it would be the right thing to do when it comes to SAFF loans. But you hear a little bit of complaints here and there because of that stringent measure to make sure that we do not take money where it does not bring returns to the country. Remember, the whole idea, the objective of the country is that the returns must be the results of the harvest.
Now, you have started the conversation of CDF, the Constituency Development Fund. So what steps is your ministry taking to ensure that CDF-funded irrigation or maybe agro-equipment projects are procured through transparent and competitive processes, that is by district authorities?
So when you look at for CDF loans, most of them, basically people go and get quotations when there are issues to do with financing with the projects that people want to run. For example, if you want to run a bricklaying factory, usually you say, I want to get a machine to do bricklaying, and they get quotations and they do apply. That is under CDF. And I think it's a little bit almost the same with the SAFF loans. And people have the payment has gone directly to the suppliers. But what has been happening most of the time is the connivance between the suppliers and those that apply. And I think that is where the monitoring aspect comes in. It's quite costly. Monitoring is not that cheap, and in most cases it is an audit, and as you know, an audit is a post-event activity. So by the time you are discovering this has happened, sometimes you may find that the activity had already happened. And for example, if you look at the repayment on the CDF, it has been so low. Others, when we went to do, in my constituents, for example, when we went to do the survey, we discovered they changed the projects, they changed the plans. But you know, once you change a plan, then the targets changes, the objectives changes, and everything is almost into a little bit into a disarray. So that is what I think is a teething problem, and that's what we don't want it to happen to the SAFF loans. So on the SAFF loans, I think because the quantities are bigger, and I think the yield is better, the return is better, we want to make sure it is a perfect project.
There have been talks about CDF not being fully utilized. So from your own constituency, what percentage have you used the CDF?
There are two perspectives, if not three, about utilization of CDF.
Okay.
Number one is that, yes, there could be some districts where there is a little bit of some sort of sluggish attitude towards the utilization of CDF. But mainly you would find it would be a little bit in areas maybe that would not want the new Dawn government to really be seen to be performing. And I'm sure the Ministry of Local Government has moved into those areas. But much of it that is said not to have been done is based on the issue of how the implementation is done. I'll give you an example. Today, I can procure a road and we engage a contractor. And that contractor is going to finish doing that road in, for example, 9 months. And money has come for that contractor. But the payment process does not allow me to pay the contractor before he finishes. So what will happen is that if it's a 2 million kwacha for the contractor, that 2 million kwacha will come, and the contractor is working. So maybe the advance of 25% has been paid, but there is 75% that is waiting for him to reach 50 for him to be paid the next 25%, and when he reaches 70% for him to be paid, and the other 25 is only paid after he has finished, the road is been inspected, and of course the engineers have said he has worked according to the bill of quantities. Now, that sometimes in accountancy brings misunderstanding. When you go and audit at a point where 75% is still there, you will say they haven't used the money. But in real terms, that money is already consumed, because it's not your money. It is that contractor's money. If it is used somewhere else, there will be a challenge on that road. So there has been a little bit, I think, something that must be understood between accounting and engineering. So that there is real understanding. And of course, when you get it yourself, you simply say, oh, he didn't use this money, he left the money in the account, and therefore Honorable Nkulukusa is not working. And yet the pudding is, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. When you go and understand, is that money really the money for the council? No. All the money is gone, but the council has got ways of how they have to pay. So there is that component of understanding, so it's really a detailed discussion which must be understood case by case. A wholesome sort of a statement would be really not really digressing or putting facts into perspective.
So in a case where we see a contractor hasn't fully constructed the roads, like you said, in terms of payments, so who is supposed to be held accountable in case they don't finish up that road project?
The council is supposed to be held accountable. That's why they are holding the money.
Okay.
They are holding the money because if you pay that contractor everything, he runs away, it becomes a court case. And you know, do you want the council to be going to court? No. So the council, in trying to what we call reduce the risk or hedge against the loss of poor performance, they hold funds to say we'll pay you when you finish. And as the contractor is working, they continue to inspect. The engineer's job is to continue to inspect that the progress is okay. That's why there are always engineers attached to that. And usually you will find that everything will be okay. By the time the road is completed, the engineer will sign the final certificate, and the contractor now will push in the final payment. The payment will be paid. But my point is, if you as media visit at the point when the contractor has collected only 25% and has worked only for 1 month, and you find that money sitting, your conclusion will be that they are not using the money. So I'm saying that's why it's a detail that really must be gotten. But yes, I don't want to say that's the case everywhere, but I've seen such misunderstanding. And that's why I'm talking about them. But also I've seen where money has stayed. Councils, there are some councils that have been reported that for 2 years money has been staying. And if you remember, the Treasury decided that it will be only be releasing money when you have emptied your accounts, because they also discovered that when they release money, and this money goes to the councils, the council put money in the banks, and when the banks see that the council money is a lot and it's not going to be used soon, they start buying treasury bills and government bonds and using the government money to make money. So that is why again you saw that the intervention by the Treasury to say, please, only when you have completed and you need the money, because we don't want this money to be used by the banks again to make profits. So it's a complex thing, it's an economics thing that really people need to understand and go into detail, but everything is meant to protect government money, everything is meant to protect the three perspectives that the president wants: quality work, at the right price, at the right time.
Okay. And now taking a different turn. So we did see that drought was declared in early 2024, which triggered Zambia's first ever national rainwater harvesting strategy, with, I would say, less than 20 dams rehabilitated or contracted to boost irrigation and even buffer future shocks. So now, with rainfall being unreliable, as we've seen, how is Central Province deploying resources like dams, solar pumps, drip systems, and even harnessing the Green Nexus and World Bank support to scale up smallholder irrigation?
Yes, I think the biggest issue with the climate change that has come with it is this flow of unexpected rain patterns. I think we saw it in the other year, which was described as the worst ever in the history. My mother is almost 91 now, and she said she had never seen in her life such a drought where rains went in January and never came back until the following season. So truly that has brought to the fact that climate change is real and that it is changing dynamics in the agricultural sector. And the president has given a very, very good directive that whenever we have good rainfall, we let Zambia is known to have about 30 to 35% of the fresh waters in the SADC region. And all that water, we let it go into the Indian Ocean. And I think you have seen the president now very much push the Ministry of Water to say, let us harvest most of this water. It's a new perspective. It has new thinking. It requires challenging traditional thinking, because some people, for example, they will think, why should you dam our river? It has been there for years, and others think once there is damming, then the downstream will be affected. Again, it is about how you plan it from the engineering perspective. How do you put the dam in a manner that it doesn't affect the downstream? So, but the whole idea, I think the perspective, the bottom line is, why should we let over 30% of the fresh waters go into an ocean when we have capacity to actually dam some of this water and use it for agriculture so that we can attain our objectives? And truly, like you have said, the Ministry of Water has done quite commendable job. Over 20% of most of the dams that were not okay have been rehabilitated, but I think they are also on the agenda to build new dams. And Central Province has quite some good rivers, and I think that is the trajectory we are going now, so that we can harvest as much water as possible to allow more especially the peasant and the improved farmers. The commercial farmers, most of them in Central Province already have dams, and that is why you found that this time some of them did quite well. Yeah.
Okay, and what would you estimate is the timeline? When would this be possible for the smallholder farmers, for them to see that actually now we've got water that we can even actually use when it comes to our farms?
Quite difficult to give timeline, because that is under the Ministry of Water. I would be speaking on behalf of my other minister, and I may give him targets that that might not, unless I am privy to the budget, and of course what will go into the 2026 budget. But I know for sure that it's a policy direction that has been given by our president to the ministry, that we must harvest much of this water and take advantage of our comparative advantage that 30 to 35% of the fresh waters in the SADC region. There's also, I'm sure you know, the project that is being tried. We are trying to push it, that part of the water that must be harvested must be a lot of water that is sitting in the northern circuit of this country. How can we make it reach the southern circuit as well, so that the southern circuit can benefit? Remember, agriculture has got certain components in the northern circuit. Of course, the situation is improving now, but the biggest issue before, rains also there have reduced. People don't know that. Before, during our time in the 70s to 80s, it was very difficult to farm in the northern province because there was too much rain, and it was resulting in agriculture what we call leaching. And leaching is basically any crop can't get the minerals because the heavy rains are taking the minerals too deep down that the roots can't reach them. But as the water, as the climate change continues to come and start affecting both, there it is becoming normal, here it is becoming worse. So the question again becomes, how can we harvest this water from that side? I told you it requires a paradigm shift, it's a mindset change, it's a new thinking. We need to challenge traditional thinking. I heard some of the colleagues there saying, how do you want to steal our water? That is our water. So those are the things that I think we must, as a country, continue to harness as we move forward.
Yeah, you also touched on that we didn't have enough rainfall this season after we had a drought. So looking at the current food security when it comes to maize, do you think we have enough maize that we have in excess to sell to other countries like DRC, for example?
Yes, the rainfall was quite good, not enough for power generating, but for agriculture it was quite good enough. Okay. But I'm sure for other sectors, like my brother from the Ministry of Energy, he still needs about 2-3 more such downpours for the Kariba to be safe and really give us good water for power. But for agriculture we did quite well. We feel actually that maybe the forecast is a little bit underestimated. I think the president is on record of saying he is not doubting that we'll hit 4 million metric tons. Of course the forecast is at about 3.8 somewhere there, 3.68, 3.8. Is it enough? Yes, very much enough. Zambia consumes in total about 2.68 metric tons of maize per annum. And if we are going to produce about 4, it means we need a little bit more for export. And of course that gives us also an advantage to use what we have always termed as a comparative advantage. Remember, almost 75% of Zambia's land is arable, meaning good for agriculture, and we have sat on this land for over 60 years now, and we always talk about we must use what we have, what God has given us, and we have always used terms like agriculture is a sleeping giant, and we have never said when it will wake up. And I think it is time now that the agricultural sector wakes up. How can it wake up? If we have land that is arable, over 70%, 80%, and our neighbors are crying for food, and we don't take advantage to to actually grow enough so that we can export and earn foreign exchange, then we are sitting on opportunities. And I think that is one of the myths. Many people, when they hear of export, they think it is a taboo, it's a bad thing. It's a good example I can give. It is when I hear that outside this job you are doing, you are running a saloon. Should it be a bad thing? It should be actually a very good thing, that I must encourage you to have an extra income. And of course, for us, the agricultural sector, when we export, we are earning foreign exchange. What does foreign exchange do? When you increase your exports, you start seeing how your local currency becomes quite strong. And I'm saying this is the right time to talk about it. I'm sure you are seeing how the kwacha is becoming bullish with a little bit of the exports that we have grown in the mining sector. What more if we start growing exports in all sectors? So yes, we have enough maize now for our food security. Of course, as government, we can't immediately buy all the maize, otherwise we'll not have medicines, we'll not have anything. We'll put the whole budget on buying the maize. That's why as a way to run a country, I'm sure you've seen that government has said initially they are going to get just about 565 or 535,000 metric tons.
Okay.
Why that is happening is because you need also to work with private sector. Remember, the country is about government and private sector. Then you have an economy.
Honorable Minister, a certain section of society do feel that if we sell the excess maize, we might not have a contingency plan. Do you agree with that statement?
It depends on your planning. It depends on the planning. I think there is nothing wrong if you have, like I have said, we know that we consume 2.35 or 2.5, somewhere there.
Yes.
I might not be specific, but we don't reach 3 million metric tons in consumption. And we produce 4 million metric tons. What are we going to do with the rest? Storage nowadays, for example, Zambia, our storage facilities, most of them, they need rehabilitation. I think we can't store more than 800,000 metric tons. We don't have that capacity. Okay, so we depend on what we store as a government, but what also private sector stores. But remember, I told you this is a game of private sector and of course government also. So once we have what we feel there's food security, it only makes sense that we can sell others. For example, our budget, the farmers might want to sell to government. The price for government is quite good. We don't want other people to come and take advantage of the farmers. Now, when we have finished buying, we've exhausted our budget. We'll still need to continue buying maize from the farmers. But on the premise that we can sell that maize on their behalf and pay them their money so that they can again farm next year. Otherwise, the whole principle of 10 million metric tons becomes defeated. So it's all about planning. There's nothing wrong. In medicine, they say nothing is bad as long as it's done in moderation, meaning it has to be planned. There's nothing that you can say this is bad. So, and when we produce 10 million metric tons, where are we going to take the maize? We store it? We keep it? We are only consuming less than 3 million, and we are targeting 10 million. Where are we going to take the rest of the? It's actually to sell, and sell where the markets is good, so that we can earn foreign exchange. So that must be, I think, in the new paradigm, in the new thinking, in challenging traditional thinking. That is the route we must take if we are going to think of development for this country. Remember, we always are talking about ensuring that people's living standards improve. And how does it improve? Many of the ways is not to stifle development. It is actually to let the economy grow, so that then everybody can have the cake, can be part of the cake, of the national cake, and then you have the living standards growing.
This is Voice of the People. Do remember that you can be part of the conversation. You can call us up on 0955 997 997 or on 0979 192 485. And in the studio with us, we do have Honorable Mwabashike Nkulukusa, who's the Central Province Minister and also MP for Katua constituency. And you can send us your questions or comments. I believe we have a caller.
Hello, it's you to the Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We are doing great. Thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mutale again. I'm calling from Lusaka West.
All right. Okay, Mutale.
Small-scale farmer.
Okay, Mutale, go ahead with the contribution.
Honorable Minister, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, my brother. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Honorable Minister, as a small-scale farmer who depends upon what I grow on my farm,
Yes.
for my livelihood, I have a concern. There is this requirement that we sell 10 bags to FRA
Yes.
of what we produced.
Yes.
Now, when January started, we had floods here. This is Chilanga area, Chilanga, Makeni, Lusaka West area. So the flood beat us very, very bad, and it was the time when the crop was almost ready. So most of the crop was destroyed. I managed to only harvest 11 bags from what I usually harvest of 30 bags, because with 30, I'm able to consume it, and I'm able to even have surplus to sell one or two, but not on a large scale. It's mainly for consumption because I live on a 15-acre farm. So with 11, I'm not able to sell 10, otherwise I'll go hungry. I mean, what is government position over that? Because I even run a cooperative, and most of my cooperative members are complaining to say some of them even harvested below, because I managed 11 because maybe I'm living in a better position. Some of them are not even landowners. So what is the government position? Because if I'm going to sell 10 from my 11, I remain with 1. And that does not, won't be able to feed me. So what is government position over that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mutale. You have a lovely day. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thanks, my brother. Oh, that's a very important question. First of all, principle number 1, secure your food security. Anything else follows later. Please secure your food security. You can't go and sell the 10 so that you qualify again. Principle number 2 is, once such a thing has been realized, like my brother has realized, it is always important to communicate to FRI. Even before the harvesting was done, communicate that yes, I got this. Principle is purely wanting to safeguard one thing, that when people get this subsidized fertilizer under FISIP, they must take it to agriculture. That's all we are interested in. It's not really that we can't, as government, we can't get maize somewhere else, and that the 10 bags really are critical. They may not as much critical be, because we can buy this from somewhere else, but it is the rationale is behind the collection of FISIP fertilizer, which is 100% subsidized by government, and people are going to sell it. You get what I mean? They're going to sell it. They've made businesses. They get the fertilizer, go and sell. One of my colleague, we grew up, we were together at primary school, and of course he doesn't see me as a minister, he sees me as a brother, a colleague, and then he came to me and says, no, I have 12 bags, are you interested in buying? I said, why, you don't want to go and farm? And he says, how do I bury money? I already have money and I start going to bury. Now it's that mentality that we are trying to nip in the bud, to say, please, when you collect, go and take to the intended purpose, because it is for food security. So how do we do it? For you to qualify next, we must show that you planted and sell 10 bags to FRI. So if you see there, the objective is not the bags. The objective is the evidence that what you got, you took to farming. And if in the process, like any other business, you encounter something that is a challenge, drought, too much rains, those that are near national parks, they will have animals raiding, just report. Just go to FRA or any agricultural center, report that this is what happened. Because then when you report, you indemnify yourself against being suspected that you sold your fertilizer. And because of that, FRA will put you back on FISIP. So that is the whole process. That is the whole idea. Otherwise, it's not meant to punish farmers, and it is never meant to make them sell the little they have harvested. Food security in their homes is priority number 1. If you've only harvested 20 and you take 30, please keep them for your food security. But let FRA know before, where before. Even now, if it's too late, you can still explain that. But next, it is always important that you move with them, so that the suspicion that you didn't sell the seed and the fertilizer is removed from the word go, and therefore you become eligible again next year. So we are trying to bring into the sector a little bit of what you can call self-consciousness. We've realized that the levels of self-consciousness are low, and we need intervention by putting in certain policies. They are not meant to punish, they are actually meant to give relief to our farmers.
Once again, this is Voice of the People. We definitely are quite expectant for your questions, your comments as well. You can do so on 0955-997-997 or on 0979-192-485. We are live on Facebook, but also on Dstv, and you can also find us on the TuneIn app. Now, Honorable, taking a different turn, if I should say, and that's when it comes to mining. This year, we've heard a lot. So much has been spoken with so many different stakeholders as well, giving their voice to it. So now, within the Central Province, how would you say, when it comes to illegal mining, as we've seen acid spills, that's been quite, I would say, a big issue, given that there is mining-related pollution that now threatens Central Province water bodies and even agricultural zones? What mechanisms have you put in place to support the reclamation of contaminated farmland and even riverside areas? Because that does now affect the food security of the farmer.
That is very true, and I think if you remember, again, I go back to the day when President Kainde Hichilema was swearing me in as Central Province Minister. I think the biggest matching order was go and finish illegal mining. I think that was the biggest matching order of everything he said. I think that stood out a lot, and every time I can say I don't sleep over trying to implement what a good policy it is. First of all, I want to say illegal mining doesn't benefit anybody. Many of the illegal miners think they benefit. They don't benefit. Most of the time, they risk their lives. It's just a matter of time. Some of them might not be there next month, other month. I'm sure we hear in every event where there is illegal mining, 20 people have died, 5 people have died. It's a risk. That's number one, to their lives. Number two, most of that illegal mine doesn't benefit the country, because in most cases, the few people that benefit, very few, will get a little bit of resources, but that little bit of resources is negligible towards what those that come and steal those minerals from them, who are mainly foreigners. And Zambia remains without any resources. So in all aspects, when you look at it, it is not good for the economy, illegal mining. What is good for the economy is structured mining. And structured mining means it is legalized, but it is also monitored in the process. Now, there has been a lot of misunderstanding. Many people have been thinking legal mining is simply getting the license, which initially maybe that was the definition of legal mining. But that, I'm sure now you hear the president talk about, it is not only the legality side of it, it is also the safety side of it. Because yes, we can benefit, we can get some taxes, but if we don't consider the safety side, the risk of losing lives will still remain there. We'll still continue to lose lives, we'll still continue. So now we are combining two. You must, yes, have the legal license for you to mine, but you must show that your mining methodologies are actually safe, because mining is a science. You cannot just, before it was, oh, let's go and get a pick and a hoe. For example, in the gold mine, what I have discovered is that when the illegal miners discover gold has what you call veins, it's not like copper, where maybe the stone is laid and you need to remove the earth and just find the copper. With veins, I mean with gold, it has veins. And some of the veins would go as deep as 200 meters. And unfortunately, illegal miners, because they don't want to invest in removing the earth vein, they start just making a hole following the vein until it collapses on them. That's why you find that gold mining is the most dangerous, and so many people are actually dying. What are we doing about it? I think in Central Province we have declared a zero tolerance to illegal mining. We know it makes us unpopular, but it is good for posterity.
You just have to hold that thought, Honorable Minister. We do have a call. Hello, it's you to the Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Who are we speaking to?
I'm speaking to Abel.
All right, Abel, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kalabo.
All right, go ahead with the contribution, Abel. Okay, we seem to have lost him. So you were...
Yes, I was saying it's something unpopular. Sometimes, I'm sure you know that anything that tries to remove quick money, even if it's dirty money from people, tends to be a little bit unpopular.
Sorry to cut you off short, Honorable Minister. These people feel that they are entitled to these minerals, and that is why, in their defense, they are now mining them, because they feel that the government is not doing enough for them when it comes to giving them opportunities. So they feel like they are entitled to this, especially gold.
Yes, I mean, entitlement, every citizen is entitled to any mineral that is on earth. I mean, the Zambia would have not been Zambia without the lumberland providing all the minerals in this country. So entitlement is for every Zambian. And also maybe the mentality to start to think that if gold is found at my house, at my Lukumba village in Katuba, therefore it must be only me and the people to benefit. It's a wrong concept. Minerals are for the country, and that one part could have a resource, one part would not have a resource, but the country must be shared. The president always gives an example. If the people in Southern under Kariba said, this is our electricity, we are entitled only to us, honestly, where are we going to lead the whole country? So yes, entitlement is for everybody.
Sorry to cut you off short, Honorable Minister, we do have a call. Hello, it's Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name?
Yes, sir.
I'm Boyd. Mwabashike. Boyd. Just call me Boyd.
All right, Mr. Boyd. Go ahead with the contribution.
My contribution?
Yes.
I go ahead.
Yes, you can.
But the minister is still talking.
No, we wanted to hear your question so that he answers you as he's talking.
Oh, you will record my question?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. First of all, I'm greeting the minister from Central Province. I'm from Mungwa district.
Thank you very much, my brother.
And I'm glad with his explanation with regard to illegal mining, so to say. That's very good explanation, especially the dangers involved in it. I'm commending for that explanation he has given. Now, FRA marketing, logistically, there are a lot of problems there in the depots. You find, for example, me and my wife, we have been at the depot in Mumba there condition for 2 weeks, sleeping in the cold. So logistically, I think there must be an intervention. Logistically, the bags are not there, the process itself, and so on. I think time is too there for FRA to be advanced to logistically prepare for this marketing processes, so that farmers are not kept there for a very long time. Bags are being distributed or delivered in piecemeal. I don't know, in Mungwa when I was there, they said, I don't know whether 50,000 bags. I don't know whether it's for the whole district, and then these 50,000 bags are distributed 5,000 per depot. Okay? They deliver to the farmers, they do that cumbersome job of course, the maize is important, it must be cleaned, and so on. Again, they come with another. So this has taken to some people to be in these depots for over even 3 weeks. Okay? And sleeping in the cold, and so on. So I don't know what should be done for FRA to at least I think make the whole process manageable, especially for the peasant farmers. This cold you are feeling is where these farmers who are selling maize are sleeping in this cold day and night, and so on, and the dust. So logistically, I think there's a problem in terms of preparation by FRA to buy the maize. I don't know. There's need for us to be preparing adequately for the marketing process, so that it is made easier for the sellers. And this is what is making the peasant farmers sell the maize to these briefcase buyers, because there they get immediate cash, and so on. So I don't know, if not the marketing is going on, I don't know what the Minister Mkwawa Nanga Mwachitabu yani, you intervene to at least help this process of selling, speed it up.
Okay.
Right now as I'm talking, because I have to come for work myself, my wife is a beneficiary of FISIP, so I said on top of what I added on, you already that for FISIP. It gave me a foundation. You sell the maize. She's there. Oh, we are entering a third week. She's there in the court, So my point is, can we, or the government, at least make it easier for the sellers to sell their maize?
Many thanks,
and
Mr.
which are also in the rural areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We can, I think, accommodate one more call. The numbers are 0955 997 997 or 0979 192 485. That is 0979 192 485 or 0955 997 997. Well, maybe you can just quickly answer the question.
Well, thank you very much. I'll answer my brother on the issue of FRA.
Yes.
And I think, first of all, I want to say thank you to him, because this is good feedback. I started getting this feedback about 2 weeks ago myself, and when I did a little bit of some survey, I discovered that yes, there is underestimation by FRI when it comes to the issue of bags that must be taken to each district. There was underestimation. Why has that underestimation come about? There is a lot of selling of maize by those that went to buy maize first from farmers, and now they are reselling to FRI. That is where the biggest challenge has been, because what has happened with those, you find just one farmer has got 3,000 bags, and they have to wait for that farmer because it was announced as first come, first serve. It's a lesson, and I think it's a learning curve. I'm sure next year FRI might say August will be reserved for FISIP only, those that got FISIP. Maybe that type of planning would be much better. But we, I think, as including FRI as government, we felt that the peasant farmers are coming. We didn't realize that there were a lot of these. I don't want to call them briefcase buyers. I want to call them entrepreneurs that rushed into the field and bought a lot of maize from some farmers, of course at a price that we didn't like ourselves as government, because we feel that those farmers were deprived of a profit. I'll give you an example. In Mumbwa, where my brother is coming from, I discovered they were selling maize at 180, 190 kwacha per 50 kg bag, and these people rushed and bought this maize, and they are now resupplying to FRA at 340. So you can imagine how much the real farmer has lost out of that, the difference in pricing. And this person who just went and bought is making that money. So these are the people that have clogged the FRA depots, and they have taken 4,000 bags, 7,000 bags, and because FRA wants to make sure that the maize that is being collected must be sieved, must be cleaned, and must be put into the proper bags for easy storage. So that process is taking a little bit longer because this person has to finish. He says, I came first. He has to finish all the 4,000. And if only 5,000 bags were supplied at that depot, it means he has taken almost 90% of the bags. So I totally agree with him. It's a good feedback, but what this feedback does is that it improves our planning and anticipation process. Because initially we used to think most of these entrepreneurs don't buy to resell to FRA. They buy for to go and sell to millers, to go and sell to other places. But this time the FRA price has been too good that they've neglected the millers and they've gone to resell at FRA, and that's why we have this encounter. So for my brother, it's a good feedback. It gives us next time that in the planning, like I have said, if next year when it comes, definitely the advice I can give to my brother, Honorable Mutolo, is once you open, give these people that collected fertilizer from FISIP 1.5 months, only them should supply. That's when you start getting from others, so that we don't inconvenience a good mother like his wife to sleep at a place like there in this code. So I think that's what I can say, and I know that Honorable Mtolo is aware about this. It came in Parliament. I think it came as an urgent matter, and of course he's making sure that issues of bags are supplied as quickly as possible because of this revelation that has come.
Now, recently, President Hakainde Hichilema emphasized that the Chisamba project, which is a part of a broader strategy to increase Zambia's power generation capacity to 1,000 megawatt by the ending of the year. So the other concern is, as we are seeing these projects and these developments, and why are people still facing load shedding in Central Province, as we did see the Chisamba power plant, which is producing at least 100 megawatts.
Thank you very much. Definitely, the broader sense is President Hakainde Hichilema feels that because of this climate change, we need to have a proper energy mix. What I think has been lacking in the previous lives of ourselves has been that we have always felt hydropower is the only way in Zambia. And not that it is not important. We know that it's more reliable. We know that it is, we cannot do away with it, but we must always have mitigations by having a mix. I always give an example. I come from the business world. If you always sell 90% of your goods to government and only 10% to private sector, it's just a matter of time. You'll be in trouble. You need to diversify your sales portfolio. Maybe 30% to government, another 30% to private sector, another 30% to, so that when one withdraws, you still have 70-60% of your sales and you can survive. The same thing on the energy. If we diversify our energy mix, right now the president is targeting 1,000 megawatts by the end of this year. We consume 2,600 megawatts. It means already solar alone has taken away almost 48% of our needs. Even if we have a drought and the hydro can only produce 1,600, we'll still be a little bit safe. That is his strategy, and that is why he's emphasizing. But again, we must always remove this thinking that because power is generated in Chisamba and Central Province, therefore it's only Central Province that must benefit it. No, this is a national grid. It is going into the country, and everybody must be part and parcel of it. Otherwise, we are creating a system that we are not brothers keepers. Why should I consume? Yes, Central Province only consumes about 9,800 megawatts. If I was selfish, I would say, President Hakainde, why don't you just leave this for Central Province? And then me, I come out of the outages. But honestly, we were a leader. Will you be a good leader to do that? I don't think so. That is power for the country. That is power for the nation. If the ZESCO decides that, okay, because you are the producers, we have produced in your area, we'll leave 30 of the megawatts for you, and we'll take to the rest of the country, then we'll say thank you. Then the reason to produce and benefit a little bit more than the other becomes a reason why we should be happy. But to think that because we have now the 100 megawatts and the Central Province consumes 98 megawatts, therefore now it must only be for Central Province, that's not being nationalistic, and that's not being a leader. Because a leader, you are looking at the country. When President Hakainde put up that money, $100 million, it didn't come from Central Province. It came from the country. You and me paid the taxes, who might not be in Central Province. So now that we have produced power, we want only to give. What about the tax you paid? So really, nationalistic thinking is that yes, we must benefit a little bit more. And if you heard my speech there, I said yes, this is going into the national grid, and it is moving about 10 poles into Mulungushi substation. Mulungushi substation takes it as normal electricity to wherever it is needed, where it can bring more returns so that we can build more such solar plants in the country and achieve our 1,000 megawatts. And I know that very soon we could be opening another one. It may not be 100, it may be 50, but still in Central Province. That one is expanding to 200 megawatts. When Mulungushi, China, textiles opens, they are also bringing in another 100 megawatts. So really the future looks good for the solar mix, and that is good, I think, for the country. Going forward, we may see a little bit of more stability, and that's, I think, what President Hakainde wants to put, that we must look at this in the 5-6 years of his leadership. We must look at the issue of not having such a great impact whenever we have climate change issues and we don't have rainfall.
So I'll say, taking you back to mining again, we did touch on illegal mining, but this time, this year though,
you forgot.
Not at all. Not at all. So now taking a look at the legal side of mining, earlier this year in February, we did have Sino Metals, whereby we had that spillage, which affected, I would say, a number of things, water and also the farm areas around that.
Yes.
So what exactly, or rather what mechanisms have you put in place to ensure that at least that contaminated farmland and the riverside areas are protected, and that at least all that loss that they made when it comes to the fish, when it comes to the plants around that area, at least that they get their money back? Because that's a loss on their end, isn't it?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'll comment as Central Province, but I'm sure you know that is purely under Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. So I may not have the specific details, but the fact that we work for one government, we always share this information, and because it happened in Central Province, it's something that we all worked together. First of all, it is quite unfortunate that such an incident happened, and it disrupted a lot of lives of people, and more especially aquatic life in the Kafue the Kafue River. It's called Lufubu from the other side in Ngabwe, where the impact was much greater. The SWIFT, of course, I must also be quick to mention that whenever such a thing happens, the laws in Zambia on the environment is very clear. Okay, the polluter pays the price. It should not. It's not something that comes to your tax. It's not. It's the polluter who must pay for every price, and that price includes the restoration of the aquatic life, but also the compensation of the people that are affected. They must be compensated. That it must be paid, but also the issue of the cleanup. Because now, yes, the issue of water and the pH was immediately done. The polluter made sure enough lime was put in the river. The pH levels were all controlled, and of course many of the water suppliers started collecting water, going to treat it, because it was now at an affordable level. But remember, there is also this issue of the heavy metals that go on sometimes on the riverbed and can have an impact for the aquatic life for a period of time, and those heavy metals need to be cleaned. And I think that is the process that takes a little bit longer, because you need expertise to do that, and which they are doing now. Most of that process is almost completed. It's an expensive process, but like I have said, it's the polluter who pays. Right now also, if you look at it from where it started on the Copper Belt, all the names of the people that were affected, because farmers that during that period we stopped them even from watering their vegetables because of the fear of the heavy metals. Remember, heavy metals will settle in anything, in the maize grain, in the vegetables, and in anything, and we didn't want that, so we stopped them from using that water. It means they have to be compensated because they ran those losses. I was just telling my member of parliament for Ngabwe, Honorable Kolala, that please quickly do the list for the Ngabwe side, because the other side is already been done and the list has been handed over to the Ministry of Green Economy for people affected that must be compensated. And I think we are remaining with the list that is more up to Ngabwe in terms of compensation and ensuring that the water is okay. The aquatic life is okay now. You can still find a lot of fish there, but we are still telling people not to do the fishing. And that's why the compensation is very critical, because that's their livelihood. And so we are still telling people, because we are afraid until a more scientific research is done that is devoid of the heavy metals even in that fish. So it was a very unfortunate event that took place, but you can see from the measures that government has taken that we have put the people at the center of everything, that the lives of the people must not be disturbed. And of course, we have stood at the principle that the polluter pays the price. Otherwise, why should they do business if they can't pay for the sins they have committed? And I think so far the polluter has been quite cooperative to ensure that whatever demand is made, they are making sure that they produce those. I know it's a heavy issue on their investment, but that's what investment is all about. You can't move an investment without taking responsibility. Remember, in any investment that we do from the business world, we say you must take care of the 3 P's, which we call the triple bottom line. Take care of the people, take care of the planet, and make profit. And so the people and the planet remain very critical in that pollution. And that's why we are moving that like that.
So now we did hear of stories even after the event happened, finding out that Sinometals had that spillage, that even though there was government directive to ensure that they shut down, stop operations until they fix the problem, that it seems they were operating as well with even in the night. So now for organizations such as that, whereby they ignore government directives, what step is being taken to ensure that they actually adhere to whatever laws have been put in place? Because I'm sure for the people around that area, they must have felt hurt by it, seeing it affected their livelihoods.
Yes. First of all, I would find it very strange that they didn't follow a government directive. Yeah, I would, honestly speaking, I would find it very strange, because immediately that happened, 2 ministers went there, Honorable Nzovu from the water and Honorable Mposha from green economy, and I think they had very good discussions there that they will follow every directive. However, where that happens was where they were keeping acid, the tailings that were keeping acid. It had nothing to do with their plant. So what I must maybe just confirm was, what was the agreement? What government directive? What did government give as a directive? Did they them to stop also working on the other part where everything was okay, or they were told to look after what the spillage is? Again, as I have said, mining is a science. There, it's, you build a reservoir where you go and throw your waste. That is what went wrong there. And this waste, over a period of time, you also collect, and it's like a bin. A dustbin at home that falls and spills that thing. Usually it has nothing to do with the running of the home. But what I don't know was that whether the government, my colleagues, the ministers, went and said, because the bin has fallen, therefore even the operation must stop. That I don't know. That could have been the misunderstanding. I'm saying could have been, because I'm not the minister responsible, and I'm sure the directives, all I can rest assure you is that Sinometals followed every directive, I think according to the minister, that they were given to do, because they were worried about their investment, and the only way you can secure it and ensure that it's sustainable is to make sure you cooperate with the government that gave you that investment. Otherwise, it would be suspended.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Minister, as we'll be wrapping up our conversation, what does your office plan to harness youth unemployment and transform it into opportunities, especially in Kapiri, Katuba, and Chirombo?
Yes, my first advice, I think, before I even talk about what are we doing, is that I know I was a youth at one time. And maybe because I'm a villager and grew up in the village as a youth, at that time, we always looked at the opportunity with humility and wanted to seize it. That's why some of us at the age of 25, 30, we grew to become managers and directors in private sector because we were quite loyal, number one. We were quite strategic, focused, and we never rushed for money. I want to advise the youths of today. The quick fixes are killing us. Quick fixes are killing us. You put up, I'll give you an example, some of my youths in my own constituency. You tell them, please come together. There is this empowerment. Work together, 10 youths, 15 youths. I was given an answer, if a boss, if you're going to you, a leader, they don't want some of them. Yes, some of them are doing well, but the majority, we need a new thinking in the youth that are currently with us. Most of them, they want quick fixes. They don't know where the money is coming from. I have a challenge right now in Kabwe. Everybody wants to, at the end of the month end, think, oh, there's money at the Black Mountain and I am supposed to walk away with a 10,000 kwacha. You are seated home waiting for a 10,000 kwacha to walk away with. When the investor gives a little bit of what is called corporate social responsibility to share with everybody, they say, what is this? Where can this take us? We need to work. And that's why President Hakainde Hichilema is talking about working. President Hakainde Hichilema loves the youth so much. If there is any period that youths have been recruited en masse in numbers, over 156,000 youths within 4 years, it's the period of Hakainde Hichilema. The nurses, the teachers, the armies, it is the period of Hakainde Hichilema. He has done so well on opening opportunities. But it can't be only in government. Youths must go into entrepreneurship. Youths must go into, that's why now there is even the issue of skills training because of the love for the youth. It's the same youth. Remember, for you to qualify for skills training, you must be above 15, is it 18, 15, but below 35. Why? Because he wants you to have a skill. When you are a welder and electricity is coming, he's working on energy. We have discussed already. Tomorrow you will have a welding workshop somewhere and you employ others. But we need this paradigm shift. We need this mindset to unlock the potential that Africa at large and Zambia in particular has. I can rest assure you, with the current type of thinking, I'm worried for my children. I'm worried for my grandchildren. Because people want free things and it's never free. Nothing is free. Economists say there is no free lunch. Somebody else must have paid for it.
Okay.
So I think for me, the opportunities for youths are great. In Central Province alone, I'll give you in the agricultural sector. Bayer, I'm sure you remember when you opened the Bayer Seed Company, which has invested over 40 million euros in that seed company. Do you know how many the farmers they want? But in the next 5 years, 2 million outgrower farmers. Meaning 2 million supported by them, growing seed and selling to them. What an opportunity youths can go into, those that want to go into agriculture, without being an employee, but being the employer of yourself. You go, get the money, get the support from buyer, you have land, you grow seed, and the market is there for you. 2 million outgrower farmers. Look at the opportunity that is coming on the outgrower farming on the Mulungushi Zambia textile, where they are going to be wanting so much cotton. And they are saying Zambia alone cannot supply the amount of cotton that they will need there. They will have to go into the SADC region. Look at the opportunities by youths.
Okay.
So for me, I think youths have a great future, have a great time under Hakainde Hichilema, but they need to tap into these opportunities and make sure they benefit.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable, for coming to you on the Power Breakfast Show.
Thank you. Been a pleasure. She didn't avoid the mining. Thank you.
We had to just touch on that. Well, we were joined in the studio by Honorable Mwabashike Nkulukusa, Central Province Minister, also MP for Katua constituency, right here on the Power Breakfast. Continues on the other side.